Hey, and welcome to the top 10 best looking SNES games. Which Super Nintendo games look good even though they are so old that they obviously shouldn't? Let's find out. Number 10. Star Fox, or in Europe, Starwing. Star Fox was released early in 1993 and was one of the first games on console to use 3D polygon-based graphics with a chip called Super FX. This kind of graphics had only been done in arcade machines before, so it was revolutionary for its time. But the question is, does it look good even from today's point of view? Well, in my opinion, the FPS rate is so low you could count it, and the game is not as impressive now as it was when it was released. However, it's still something great and it deserves number 10 on this list.
Number 9. Tales of Phantasia. Tales of Phantasia was released in winter 1995. The thing that is special about this game is that it is one of the largest games in the SNES library with a total of 48 megabytes. The game also featured streamed audio voices with the help of a sound engine called Flexible Voice Driver that could overcome the small audio memory capacity by swapping short samples on the fly. The gameplay feels really nice and is looking really good. The Mode 7 graphics in this game handles re-rendering of sprites in real time purely through its own software.
Number 8. Sparkster. Sparkster was released in fall of 1994 by Konami. Sparkster was originally created under the name Rocket Knight Adventures for Sega, and it was basically the third game in the series. Taking influence from Sonic and Zelda, it is a very fun platforming game. The graphics are very nice and colorful with great animations and effects. This game is really one of those that are good looking, and I would definitely recommend it. Sparkster got an award for the best sound effects in 1994.
Number 7. Super Metroid. Super Metroid was released in spring of 1994 and was a huge step for Nintendo and video games in general. The game sold poorly in Japan, but fairly better in the US and Europe. Right when you start the game you can feel that creepy atmosphere crawling upon you. Both video and sound effects are superb. Super Metroid was placed first on Game Radar's list of best Super Nintendo games of all time, beating out Chrono Trigger as second place and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past as third place. Super Metroid was made on a 24 megabyte cartridge, which was the most at its time of its release. If you have a SNES console but haven't played this game, you have some homework to do.
Number 6. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. This game was released in 1995 by Midway Games. The game looks different from other SNES games as it's using more realistic color palette. If we compare the design of the characters, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is using something almost close to what an actual human being looks like. Many of the game's backgrounds were, for the first time, created using pre-rendered 3D graphics. Sound effects are great and graphics are smooth. I would say this game together with Street Fighter 2 and Killer Instinct is a must-have for all the beat-em-up fans.
Number 5. Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was released in 1994 by Rare. This game used the same graphical technique as Donkey Kong Country and brought it to the 2D fighting genre. While many Nintendo fans adore the game, it wasn't as nice looking as the arcade version. However, playing it today feels really good, graphics are great, gameplay is smooth and sounds are nice. I would say this is a very classic game that holds spot number 5 steadily.
Number 4. Earthworm Jim 2. This game was released in winter 1995. It's really special and has a wacky humor. Jim is an earthworm with a super suit, and his mission is to save his princess. Unexpectedly, many interesting things happen during his journey. On the graphical aspects of this game, it looks top-notch for sure. The animation is great, and even nowadays the game still looks fun to play. This game is a must-have for any SNES owner.
Number 3. It's Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. This game was released in fall of 1996 by Squaresoft, the creators of Final Fantasy series. Speaking in graphical terms, this game is very advanced for the system hosting it. The sprites of the characters for the game were created on SGI workstations, same as used in Donkey Kong Country, and the game used Mode 7 to express a 3D-like environment. The addition of some great light and shadow effects gets you a sense of a real-time 3D. Mode 7 tricks was used throughout the game to get a different feeling from other RPG games at the time. The game used of Sony's SP7-700 chip to make primitive echo reverb effects, and it featured 210 sound effects.
Number 2. Yoshis Island. Yoshis Island was released in the summer of 1995. Nintendo decided to take a different step with this Mario platform game, using an art style that looks hand-drawn with beautiful colors. The hand-drawn graphics stands the test of the time and feels just as fresh today as it did when it first came out. With amazingly colorful graphics and screen-filling bosses, the game is very fancy looking. The power of the new Super FX2 chip, which the game uses, made it possible to display all kinds of great visual effects that had never been seen before in a SNES game. The entire game is also filled with small details everywhere, and that really pushes it over the top. It's no wonder the Nintendo team has a special love for this. It truly is a masterpiece in the SNES library.
Number 1. It's Donkey Kong Country 3. The first Donkey Kong game was released in 1994 and made use of some amazing 3D graphics without extra hardware. With CD-based consoles around the corner from both Sega and Sony, Nintendo released Donkey Kong Country. Created by Rare, the game used pre-rendered CGI graphics that was completely different from anything else on the consoles at the time. Donkey Kong Country is also the first SNES games to use scan light trick that pushes the max on-screen colors from 256 to 4096. And why I choose Donkey Kong Country 3 on the list is because I think it's the most polished one. However, it is still representing number 1 and 2 on this list. The sound effects are extremely good. It feels like you're right there in the jungle. This game is an instant classic, a must-have for anyone interested in retro games.
And what is your opinion? Do you agree with our list or not? Write a comment and don't forget to subscribe.